we just exclusively announced on CBS that Thanksgiving, the afternoon game, drum roll, it's going to be Chiefs at Cowboys. It's the CBS Thanksgiving game. What are the Cowboys? The NFL is buying into the Cowboys this season. I think they forced them to make that George Pickens trade. They're like, hey, you guys better show the F up. We got you on the week. We got you on the opener. We got you getting the Chiefs at home for the Thanksgiving game. They're pulling out all the stops for the boys. They're telling Jerry and Brian Schottenheimer to show the F up this year.
First and foremost, let's keep that graphic up there because that is absolutely beautiful. Often in the media, we get all these overlays and graphics that pop up, and you see me and Mike, little Mike and I in the corner, and then a big graphic, and we overlook how talented these photo editors are and these media folks. That is a beautiful graphic. I mean, the only time I've seen the sun shine on a helmet like that is at the Rose Bowl. So they've managed to capture lightning in a bottle here. But as far as the football goes, Chiefs, Cowboys, a lot of questions about the Chiefs, even more questions about the Cowboys. And to your point, with week 1 being Eagles, Cowboys, there's going to be a lot of questions answered early. November, that's the 11th month of the year. There's a lot of football to be played before then. We're going to know a lot about this team. This could either be a snoozer or it could be a real fun one.
I was going to say just that. I was like, after that Thanksgiving meal around noon, you probably had either a handful of beers or a bottle of wine at this point. This could be a quick nap time, depending on how this game goes. But I think it's actually, I've hated on the Cowboys enough this offseason. I said I didn't like it until the George Pickens trade. I do think that has changed my feelings about this team. Now, I also think this offensive line is still probably a year away. I don't think this offensive line is getting back to,
but they got better.
DeMarco Murray, early Dak form. Remember early Dak, 2016 when he walked into the NFL.
The Great Wall of Dallas.
That was probably the best offensive line in the league. Travis Frederick, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin. Like there was not a lot to complain about up front there. DeMarco Murray. They want that again. I think they can be that again. I just think they are, like I said, probably a year away from coming close to that. I think this interior, though, is going to be special when it's all like these guys all develop. When you get Tyler Booker into year 3, when you get Tyler Smith onto his second contract, and you get Cooper Beebe into the end of his rookie's contract, I think that's going to be the best interior. They're going to overtake the Chiefs for the best interior in the NFL sooner or later here.
Well, it's going to be the Bears here soon. So
okay.
Don't even trip, man. Drew Dahlman's got my back. Yeah, and to your point, the Dallas Cowboys have been synonymous with offensive line excellence for as long as I can remember. And when I got into the league, it was Tyron Smith signing that 10-year, $100 million deal, which at the
insane deal
was ludicrous in a good way. And now it's ludicrous in a bad way. But Zach Martin, Travis Frederick, you name it. The list goes on and on and on. They had a couple rotating pieces in there at the other spots. But now they've got those same positions spoken for, but they're young. They have to grow together. Let's just hope that Dak's age doesn't surpass their ability to grow as a team, and they can kind of hit the sweet spot there as an offensive line.
On the flip side, the Chiefs, the thing is, I worry a little about this defense. I think we're kind of at the point. Last year felt like the last 2 years, it felt like they were trying to just cobble it together. They're just like, let's just hold it on for dear life as much as we can to keep this obviously championship core intact. And it seems like every passing year, last year was L'Jarius Sneed and now Turk Wharton. I do just think that this defense and Justin Reed, it's like this defense doesn't just quite have the same feel that it did. And that's going to be the biggest question mark for them this season. Because I think offensively, this should be the best collection of skill talent that Mahomes has had since he lost Tyreek Hill, right? It should be that. Yes. Where you have Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown now healthy. Rashee Rice should be back healthy. You have Jalen Royals, who you just drafted. Obviously, Travis Kelce's still there. But you have pieces now. And I'd even throw Bashard Smith in there as a receiving back that can actually make plays for them early out the gate. So I do think that this Chiefs team is going to be very interesting because obviously when you have Mahomes, you always have a chance. But like you have Mahomes and weapons now. It's something that they lamented when they were winning Super Bowls was that he had no one to throw to. Well, now he has someone to throw to. So I am curious to see how that goes. And then also how Steve Spagnuolo cobbles it together with the defensive core that's just kind of getting depleted.
Yeah, and they've got a guy over there at the left tackle spot now in Jalen Moore, so they can focus on what their interior is going to look like. They can find ways to help out Caliendo. They can find out ways to take advantage of Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. It's no longer the three horsemen in the middle. So you're going to have to – Andy Heck is going to have to figure out creative ways to not only give some help to that left guard spot, but also find a way to protect Patrick's blind side. And as we've talked at length on this show, you see what's on the right side if you're Patrick Mahomes when he's dropping back in his – so you're affected in the play by what you see, and that's the right tackle's block against the left defensive end or the right guard, Trey Smith. But what you don't see is what kind of keeps you up at night, and that's that blindside spot. And that's where you have so eloquently discussed with me, that's where the big momentum swing plays happen. Not just sacks or batted balls or pressures. That's turnovers. That's from the backside. You don't see it coming. The ball's not protected. So with Jalen Moore and Caliendo over there on the left side, I anticipate some creative ways and also some guys on the right side stepping it up and saying, we don't need your slide. Take it elsewhere. We're going to handle these guys. We need Patrick to have that confidence because when Patrick's confident and he knows he can step up in the pocket with the receivers that you discussed, it could be very scary in the AFC West again.
Yeah, to put some numbers to what I think we've talked about it before, but when I was at PFF, we used to obviously chart every pressure and, who was against, right side, left side. And we found when running the numbers that when you got pressure from the right side, that it impacted a literal pass. So if you pass the ball still, those passes had a lower success rate, lower EPA than when you were getting, when your left tackle was losing. But left tackle losing led to more sacks. And it led to a lot more sack fumbles. And sack fumbles are so obviously game-changing, so important that pressure from the left side was a little bit more valuable. So it's kind of like this dichotomy of, if you have a quarterback who gets rid of the ball quickly and isn't going to take a lot of sacks and has good ball security, well, then your right tackle actually might be a little bit more valuable because the pressure that he sees in his face is going to impact him more over the course of the game. But with Mahomes and kind of the way he plays with trying to extend plays, it is that backside, it is that left tackle that, in my opinion, is more valuable for him. So we'll see how Jalen Moore fares this season.
So let me say one more thing about this Chiefs-Cowboys game. With all we just discussed with the offensive line, the defensive line, read down the list of the guys who are going to be rushing the passer for this Cowboys team, and it's going to be a long day at the office for the Chiefs, who are going to be on the road in Dallas on Thanksgiving. Yes, I know Kansas City travels well. The Chiefs are originally a Texas team. There's probably still a big contingency of people that love the color red in Dallas. But it's Osa, it's Mozzie, it's Donovan Ezeraku, Micah Parsons. The list goes on and on and on. They're going to be tested. So if things haven't gone well September through November for this Chiefs team in the protection department, I don't anticipate it getting any better on Thanksgiving in a short week against this unit.
Yes, we'll see. I mean, I do think both these offensive lines are kind of the keys for these respective franchises this year. It's if they can get a lot of those young guys to take big steps and be who they thought they were when they were drafted, I think the Chiefs can win a Super Bowl. The Cowboys can make the playoffs. If they can't, if those guys don't, I do not see it happening. I just don't. So we'll see on Thanksgiving.